we didn't discuss who was going to introduce the
Hey
episode, so
guys,
everyone.
welcome to another episode of Old
everybody's
Reader
going to
New
do it.
Reader. We're going to talk about Infinity War, but not the other Infinity War, the comic book Infinity War, which is infinitely different. There's your pun for the day. That wasn't very good. Anyways, hi, I'm Maddie, one of the new readers, and with me is my beautiful co-host, the other new reader, Amanda,
Oh, thank you.
Hey,
and,
guys.
Oh, not me. Okay, not me.
and Omar. Just kidding. You know you're really handsome. Our
I
old
am.
reader.
I would not make a good woman though. All right.
Oh wait,
Yes.
Try that Snapchat filter on you.
yeah, wait, Omar. Before we do it, I do want to give a shout out because I promised to do it on air to Tim Klein for giving me this Infinity War Omnibus. Look at that bad boy! Thank you so much. I love it. It came in the mail at the end of last week, and so now I get to follow along like that, and I appreciate it. Sorry if that was a quick interruption. Just want to give a shout out to Tim Klein.
No,
Thank
that is
you
that
so
Okay.
he
much.
totally deserves that. That is a wonderful gift. Now
Yes.
your arms are gonna build up. They're gonna be huge after reading that thing. You're gonna be like, oh, that's why these guys' arms are so big because they read these omnis everywhere. So we are talking about this. If this is your first time joining us, this is our segment where I go back and reread something, and these lovely ladies read it for the first time. This about a year ago we did Infinity Gauntlet, so I think it was a good idea to do the sequel or follow up to
It's a pretty
Infinity
good
Gauntlet.
follow-up. Yeah.
This is the Infinity War, which came out the summer later because of the success of Infinity Gauntlet. Jim Starlin is reunited with Ron Lim, the artist. What do you need to know about this? Well, not a lot going in. Really, the only thing you need to know is a Warlock and Infinity Watch series started, where Warlock decided that he no longer wanted to be a god. He wanted to give the stones and separate them within this Infinity Watch. There are 5 members that we know of, and a secret member that is not revealed. But I can tell you if y'all want me to.
Do we find out Infinity Crusade? Because is that what we're going to read next year around this time?
maybe if Marvel releases an Infinity Crusade Omnibus, we can read it next year.
Marvel.
I think by then it is revealed who has the Reality Stone.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, spoilers, guys.
Spoilers.
I mean, I don't
Spoilers
care
for
to be spoiled.
a
That's
book that's
right.
well over 25 years old.
Yes.
But the only other thing is that after the events of Infinity Gauntlet, a lot of characters don't remember that happening because they were gone, right? That's why a lot of characters just show up going, who? What? Infinity? What? What are y'all talking about?
Mainly that guy from New Warriors. 'Cause
Yeah, he had no idea.
anything.
Speedball's the man.
Speedball.
Okay?
Hilarious.
Regardless,
Awful.
the New Warriors are badass. And that's kind of where we start. This has been a year after Thanos goes and lives on a farm. The Infinity Watch has been made, and things are about to happen. So, which one of you ladies wants to start talking?
I can
Oh,
start.
by the way,
since
I'm so sorry. This is available in trade paperback. It is available in an omnibus edition, and also an older, like there's an older trade that just collects the 6 issues.
so real
This
quick,
one.
what's the benefit to having the omnibus over the trade for those watching?
Okay, so unlike Infinity Gauntlet, I feel like Infinity War really did an amazing job of having what's called the Red Skies, right? Where it's an Infinity War event. Because a lot of things happen off screen, especially when you're reading. If anything, I would suggest reading Warlock and the Infinity Watch. Because a lot of the things that happen, like when Gamora goes into Eternity or Infinity, and then where Thanos fights the other Thanos, all that happened in those issues, and they're really good. And they're also written by Jim Starlin. Within the pages of Sleepwalker, something happens, and it's kind of hinted at here. Within the pages of Doctor Strange, all of a sudden you're like, why is Doctor Strange hanging out with Galactus? What the hell's going on?
Yeah.
Right. So I think it benefits from reading that. Unlike Infinity Gauntlet, I think that some of the issues they put in there were just to pad out that omnibus. But in this, I think it's really beneficial. I mean, there's silly things in there, like the Deathlock issue. I think he was in one panel throughout the whole thing.
Yeah.
But like the Daredevil like doppelganger and the Spider-Man doppelganger he stayed around until Maximum Carnage, I think. So it was a couple of years. But anyway, that's it. That would be the benefit. Of course I recommend it because it's a big book. I enjoy these. So, which one of you ladies want to dive in and start talking about?
I think Maddie volunteered.
Yeah, I'll take the first bit.
Okay.
Okay, so basically we start with Thanos, and we start out with Thanos in his farm, And at this point, I'm already excited because I love Thanos. Whatever story has Thanos in it, I'm there. I'm about it. So he's just minding his own business when we see Doppelganger Thanos, and he looks back and he's gone. And at this point, Thanos starts to notice that something is odd in the universe, and he sends out his little research bot to look into this, and he goes out himself to look into this and what's happening. And he notices that there's something familiar about this feeling or whatever's going on, but he's not quite sure what it is. So at that point, it can't be the Infinity Stones exactly, right? Because he would know exactly what this is, since we're following a year after Infinity Gauntlet. And at the same time, somebody else is also having a similar idea and noticing a lot of the same things that Thanos is, and that's Galactus, because of course it is. And so he's also kind of going out and getting his feelers for what's happening. And it's at this point, correct, where we run into Eternity?
Not yet. Right now,
maybe somebody else should take over. Maybe this is...
So while we have Thanos and Galactus, who I've always known as bad guys, but here they're good guys, kind of. Anti-heroes, right? Yeah. We also have some of our heroes on Earth are getting attacked by these doppelgangers. So the first one we're introduced to is the Spider-Man doppelganger, then Iron Man, and then Wolverine, and then Mr. Fantastic. There's also a Hawkeye one, and I think he doesn't appear right away. And so that's going on at the same time as Galactus and Thanos, who are both, figuring out something's going on, something's amiss in our reality. And so Thanos goes to explore what it is. And this is a wiser, calmer Thanos, who is not obsessed with power and everything that goes along with it. And of course, who does he run into in his quest? Is Magus? Magus? Am I going to pronounce it right?
Both ways. I tend to say Magus.
Okay, Magus. That's what
I've always pronounced it Magus. Magus is the way I've always pronounced it. But I am notorious for mispronouncing names, so I am probably wrong.
The guy on Comics Explained says Magus.
Magus, okay.
Okay, fuck that guy.
Okay, what about Magus? Let's just call it it's just like when someone says Animagus, and I would call it like that because people mess that up all the time. Okay, I'm gonna call him Magus for right now.
I'm gonna go back and call him Magus, but go ahead. We're talking about the same dude.
If I see here Magus, I think of maggot or haggis.
Yeah, it doesn't sound very pretty.
The Scottish dish, so I'm gonna go with Magus. Okay, like a magi. Anyways, so he is he ends up on his ship with basically a doppelganger version of himself is also there, kind of acting as Magus, his second in command, if you will. And he comes to realize that Magus has some bad, has a bad agenda. And he is basically trying to get unlimited power. And so now, Omar, obviously, if you want to explain who he is for our viewers, if they don't know who he is, go ahead. Go ahead.
I'm sorry, who Magus is?
Magus.
I don't know Magus, but I can explain who Magus is.
Oh my gosh.
I can tell you before this, and then I'll let Maddie explain who it is.
Sure.
This version. There was a previous version that showed up in Warlock, in the 70s. He's the Magus a lot of people have probably seen with the afro. Right. Now that is a future version of Adam Warlock, and he was coming back to the past to make sure that Adam Warlock became him, and him and his reality got kind of sent away. Actually, with the help of Thanos, pronounce it however you want. And then I will let you, Maddie, explain who this new Magus is, because at the time they're like, wait, we thought we got rid of this dude.
Right. So basically, whenever Adam Warlock gained omnipotence after getting the Infinity Gauntlet, something happened to him where they took out both the good and the evil parts of him. So that way Adam Warlock would just think logically. Now, at this point, though, that evil part of him is Magus. And so he did not go away when that was taken out of Adam Warlock. He basically became his own thing and getting his own sentience. Which is interesting because the majority of people don't remember who Magus is. There's a few
Yes.
people who know who he is. Thanos, for example, Adam Warlock, of course, but for the majority, people don't know. And for Adam Warlock, since his powers have been taken away, right? So he's with Adam Warlock and the
Infinity
Infinity
Watch.
Watch. The rules have changed in the universe to where the stones cannot be used together. And at the same time, Adam Warlock has lost his godlyhood, and he has no recollection that this good part and evil part were taken out of him, and certainly no recollection that Magus is on his own now. So that's why Magus exists by himself with his own sort of powers of like creating doppelgangers, and then other things as well. But one's power a little bit differently than Thanos does, and looks pretty fly.
Yeah, he's that nice man bun. The flashback where he has that little afro, and then he like gets it all together, gets a man bun. He's a pretty cool dude.
Yeah, he's like,
I'm so glad that you brought up the man bun.
Now.
Are you glad I brought up the man bun? I mean,
I am. I mean, people think it's a now thing. No,
No,
who started
been
this?
around.
Magus.
Okay?
Vegas.
OG man bun.
Whatever his name is.
Yeah. So, and obviously, it's from the beginning that we can tell that he has an agenda and everything. He is playing everyone as pawns on his big chessboard, and so he sends Thanos to go to tell Adam Warlock hello. And in the meantime, Mr. Fantastic is calling all of our Earth heroes together because he's like, I've been attacked by something that looks like me, some type of doppelganger. We all need to get together and talk about this. Something's happening. So he gathers everyone. And of course, they're like, well, where's Wolverine? Why isn't he answering? Or Iron Man or Spider-Man or Hawkeye? And of course, that's because they're either been defeated or gotten attacked by their own doppelgangers. And so we're, of course, you're led to believe that Mr. Fantastic made it out of that. And this is actually Mr. Fantastic. Whether or not it is, it's kind of left up in the and then in the meantime, then you also have a little tidbit of Doctor Strange, who has been taken kind of up by Galactus. He has called upon Doctor Strange to help him in his quest to figure out where this energy surge that he's kind of felt, to figure out what's going on. And then someone else can feel this change of power and energy in the air, and that is Dr. Doom. And who does he come upon? Kang.
I love Kang.
And this might be my favorite duo of this entire saga.
And I always enjoy when Dr. Doom takes his cloak off and his hood off, because he always reminds me of the Secret Wars, Dr. Doom from the 80s. Like, that was the toy, because I guess it cost too much money for them to put a cloak and a hood on a figure, so they just made him into this dude without a hood. But yeah, that was a cool team up, because Kang is my favorite Avengers bad guy. Yeah. So it's nice to see him play this role, even though he got punked in the end. But anyway, go ahead. Sorry about that.
No, you're fine. And so then you have Thanos goes to our Infinity Watch. So Infinity Watch comprises of Adam Warlock, Pip, Gamora, Moondragon, who I don't think I've seen her before, and she's a really cool character, and Drax the Destroyer, looking a lot different than us MCU people are used to, or modern,
dumb
Guardians. Yeah, dumb Drax, green Drax. And so you also have a different Hulk too in this too. He is, he is more like Professor Hulk. He talks kind of normal and everything like that. So basically,
yeah, that's smart. That's a good thing to note, is that this is Smart Hulk. It's Bruce Banner, so he's not as strong as Savage Hulk, but he's smart, so he's able to use the brute and smart. So
gotcha. So yeah, so basically, you have Kang and Dr. Doom decide to team up to figure out what's going on, and these two are pawns in the game that I don't think that we know, actually, that Magus did not expect. So they're kind of doing their own thing. And of course, the best part about them is that not when they're talking to each other at the same time, they each have their own inner dialogue where they constantly are talking about how they're just going to take the power for themselves and kill one another. So it's important to note that, because that is probably one of my favorite parts, where one's calling the other one a fool, and I can't wait to, pull one over on you when I get the chance and blah blah, but then they're acting nice to each other's faces. It might be it's great.
I miss those
They're like
thought
a
bubble
bunch of-
days.
Yeah, they're with a catty guy. So basically then you have Thanos is going to Adam Warlock, hey, this is what's going on. Magus is here. Here's who he is. We need to figure out what he wants, and we need to stop his, plan. And so, of course, you have the Infinity Watch goes off to find them. And of course, for Magus, this is all part of his plan, and he's basically doing all this for a reason. Meanwhile, you have Galactus and his team, which is Nova and Silver Surfer and Doctor Strange. Is that right? Did I miss the war? Not yet, Philip. We haven't made it there yet.
Yeah.
Yes. Now, this is where sometimes things get confusing in Marvel and DC when you have so many characters named the same title. Nova has nothing to do with the Nova Corps, Richard Rider. This is Nova, one of the heralds of Galactus. That's it.
So I think they find the spot, right, of where I guess Magus is hiding out or anything like that.
Yeah, because he's in a different reality.
Different reality. They figure out the spot where it's coming from. Then, of course, you have our heroes while Mr. Fantastic's explaining everything. You get a little bit tidbit of Hawkeye and Spider-Man, and there's a little bit of backstory, obviously, there with Spider-Man saying, he's been out of touch lately and all this stuff. And then they both get attacked by their doppelgangers, and it's a big old thing. So Adam Warlock and the Infinity Watch and Thanos go to, I guess, is it Monster Island where Death is? Is that where Death is in Monster Island?
That's where Mole Man. Well, that's the headquarters.
No, that's where the headquarters
are. That's the headquarters of the Infinity Watch.
Okay, so they don't.
They go to another place where somebody.
Where Death is.
I always thought that was really cool, and ever since Lord of the Rings, I read this segment like I read with what's her name, Lady Galadriel's voice.
Oh, when you go into the bowl,
the little pool,
the water,
and they ask a question like, "Who is this Magus?" It's like the internet, right? It's like Google. Tell me everything about Magus. And the internet gets smart with you, and it's like, damn, okay, that's kind of a broad subject.
Usually.
But yeah, I read this like I do Galadriel with Galadriel's voice, and it makes it so much more fun.
Yes.
Anyway, I'm probably alone there, but
no, it's good for us people who don't know what happened. I didn't read between Gauntlet and this, so now we know who Magus really is, and this splitting of Adam Warlock's personalities. So it's a very important piece to the puzzle, if you will.
Yeah.
So
I'm excited to see Adam Warlock too.
Yeah.
Cosmic anything. I'm like, okay, 10 out of 10.
I know. Yeah. That's it. And this is a nice early cosmic saga. I mean, we all know about the Omar's announcement on Annihilation and that whole cosmic marvel, and so this is like little early taste. Was this in the 80s? 70s?
No, this is
70s.
Did you say 70s? Woman, look at the colors.
No. Why would we know this?
This is because of the way it's written. You two have read 70s books. You'd have been like, I couldn't finish it anymore. I had to watch a comics explain video on why.
How to tell the difference between different ages of comics.
This is the 90s, so I could see it mistaken for an 80s comic.
Okay.
But it's early 90s. It's like 92, 93.
I didn't see that.
I thought like at least the 80s.
But 70s comics have a different 70s comic. You would have Magus with a freaking afro running around. That's the difference. Not a man bun.
Not a man bun. I didn't even know they were cool in the 90s. And of course, Magus is like, okay, they've had enough of their fun. Now I'm going to go ahead and make sure I can alert Death that they're coming, so they need to escape. So then we have Wolverine show up at this Earth meeting of all of our heroes, and he's like, that Iron Man and Mr. Fantastic are not who they say they are. They're liars. And of course, it takes someone else kind of with like, everyone's like, what is he talking about? It takes
nobody believes Wolverine.
Yeah, of course. But it takes Daredevil, who has that third sense because, his
third sense. He can smell really good. And then he even questions himself. Maybe Wolverine's is like sense of smell is better than mine. I can't have that. So he throws the first stick.
And it turns out that they are in fact imposters, and they have released a gamma bomb to kill all of the heroes. And if Thanos and all of them had gone to Earth to try to get the heroes, and they saw the explosion, like, maybe we should go back. Maybe this is a bad idea. So they head back. But luckily, Sue Storm is there, and she has contained the She has contained everything so that no one dies. We're fine. She's contained the gamma explosion.
Before we go into the next issue, that was issue 1.
That was all issue 1.
I wanted to talk about really quick about when I was a kid and I saw this poster and I was so excited for the sequel to Infinity Gauntlet, and I couldn't tell because of the man bun who this lady was with the Infinity Gauntlet. I'm like, man, who's this old lady with the Infinity Gauntlet? And all I kept thinking about was one of the characters. She's like a villain in New Warriors. I'm like, oh my god, the New Warriors are getting up there, man. One of their villains is becoming like huge with the Infinity Gauntlet. But anyway, I was wrong. It was Bang. It's just the way that he was drawn in this. But that was drawn by Jim Starlin, by the way. But I've always loved that poster. So moving on. I'm sorry, that was the first 2 issues.
First 2 issues, yeah. It's like,
issue 3 is where the actual gamma bomb explodes, and you were right. Invisible Woman is like, nah, I got this, fools. Now where's my husband? Like,
where's the husband?
Did anybody not like see where he went? The real Reed Richards? So
pay attention.
No,
Go ahead.
No, you're okay. So basically, during that explosion, Magus comes and he takes his 2 doppelgangers and he leaves. And since he has Thanos with them, they all assume, oh, Thanos is bad again. And so now we got to stop him. And whoever that dude is with him. And so then they're like, okay, what's going on with they realize that Spider-Man and Hawkeye have been attacked, so they send some of their like street level fighters, like Black Widow and Black Cat, who is also a hero. Love seeing like all these like anti-heroes, I guess, coming on, and they go to basically be nursemaids but protectors as well. And you know, they make those kind of comments and like, man, I hate that I have to be stuck here at this hospital, but they're like, well, I mean, in space, I don't know what good we'd be anyway. Like,
yeah, and it feels weird to have those characters out with everyone else, anyways. So it's probably
like, if we were on Earth fighting, it would be different. But they're going off into space, so we have our half our Avengers going off to space, half are staying here to monitor everything.
2 are playing the role of nurses. How did you all feel about that?
Now, whatever,
I didn't.
I like that the comment was
yes.
I thought that was a really good and interesting commentary, and it makes sense for those 2 characters to stay behind with the characters that were injured, Hawkeye and Spider-Man.
Yeah, because characters are close too.
Exactly.
But I like their little, I guess they don't need us because we don't have superpowers. But in the that's one of the issues that becomes like you never find out within the pages of Infinity War what happens. But the doppelganger and the demo
goblin, and attack them.
Go in and attack an issue.
I
think it's an issue of Spider-Man. I can't remember well.
That's why I think some of the tie-in issues would be good to read, because I looked through some of them in the and I was like, oh, well, there's more of the Mr. Fantastic fight, right? Like not just a little tidbit, because later on Mr. Fantastic is back, but I don't recall where he came back in the Infinity Wars. He just showed up with
he just showed up.
Right. So obviously that was a side issue that I could have then, oh, that makes sense. Why he would be there. I just assumed, okay, that was part of a tie-in issue, and there we go.
And that's always one of my problems. I will say that's one of my problems with the way that some of these books are mapped is like the issue of Amazing Spider-Man where he's fighting the Demo Goblin and the doppelganger happens after the 6 issues, right? Even though it takes place like during issue 1.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And as somebody that's mapping these books out, well, the way that I map books out in my head are a lot different, right? So what they do with these books, and Infinity Gauntlet did the same thing, is they put the first 6, the actual series in the front of the book, and then everything else that ties in the back. Yeah, and it kind of has you going back and forth. And when you're paying a premium price of $125 for these books, if you get it at retail, you're like, I really shouldn't have to do that. Somebody should have thought ahead and been like, hey, why don't you splice that in here? And it is difficult, but what you should have done is probably put this particular issue, like maybe right after issue 1.
That is exactly what I thought when I looked at it, Omar. I was like, this doesn't make sense. How am I going to know where each issue comes?
Welcome to the suffrage of collectors. That's what happens. You have to have somebody good in the department to actually know how to do this and make the calls, because it is.
Yeah.
I mean, it's a matter of putting 6 issues together and just like, all right, fuck it, let's just glue it all together, put these issues in the back, everybody's happy. Because then you get people that will complain, well, I wanted to just read Infinity War, so I wanted them in the front. But really, if you're buying an omnibus at this point, right, exactly. If you're buying an omnibus at this point, then you probably want the whole story the way it was meant to be told. When the issues came out in chronological order, or where they're supposed to take place within the means of the story.
But yeah, we're already
Continue.
seeing that with what War of the Realms, as far as like when issues are
Yes.
released, it doesn't always make sense
Yes,
with the
'cause-
story timeline, which is
Right.
unfortunate as it's coming out. And so I hope that's
Mhm.
something that's rectified later when eventually, hopefully, we get an omnibus for this.
So that would benefit from somebody that's a good collected editions
Yeah.
editor, right? To put things together and make it
Mhm.
a better event for the people that read
Yeah.
it in a hardcover.
Yes,
Man,
I would agree.
it.
Mhm.
All you gotta do is just
Just in
Okay,
case,
first of all,
Marvel,
I have
you're
to give a
listening.
shout out to Nomales, who is from France.
oh hey.
He doesn't understand what we're saying, but he's still very interested. So
Oh,
thank
thank you for
you.
always
That is really
watching.
sweet.
We love
Most
your
people.
Instagram.
We do love your Instagram. We all follow it.
There you go. They follow your Instagram. All right.
Yes. He's a very no Males, you are a very uplifting and generous man. So
We
there
love
you
you.
Thank
Yeah.
you.
go. Yes, Omar should apply for a job with Marvel in their company.
I'm telling you, eventually this happened. I'm like, listen,
Yeah. Eventually
we
it'll
got
happen.
Eventually, everybody's gonna be bitching like, "God damn it, Omar can't even put Infinity Crusade together."
But at least we all know
This
who
issue
to
should have been right
blame
after
then
issue.
when it happens.
I will disappear.
He'll definitely take all of the social media off then. If you yeah.
Anyway.
Okay. Yeah, so back onto our story.
Uh-huh.
So of course you have all of our moving parts. You have everyone kind of, going to where their next place is, Source or the Galactus and Infinity Watch are Avengers. And then you have the realization that Eternity, I think it's Quasar who goes to find Eternity and he realizes he's in like a stupor.
yeah, it's just stasis.
In some
unmoving.
stasis, yeah. So, good, and I don't think I've ever seen Quasar, so it was good to see him in this.
I've never
And
seen this Quasar.
yeah,
I've
you
never-
saw a different one in
But
the
no,
Annihilation.
you've seen this Quasar, but only
Oh,
for a
wait, yeah.
little bit in Annihilation.
Yeah, sorry, in
Ah.
the Soul Stone, right? So
Yep.
no.
And so you have Galactus and Doctor Strange's crew getting closer. So Meg's like, all right, it's time to press pause on these guys in my game and let's delay them a little bit. And he blows them up or blows their ship up or tries to at least.
Yeah.
And then, of course, you kind of have him and his little Thanos doppelganger that he's used as a second command. They're having a little bit of a, you can kind of tell that he's following him, but at the same time, maybe not really. And then, of course, behind him, he thinks he has everything. He can see everything in front of him. This is a very important scene because he's like, my dreams are grander. My vision is clearer, yet they can't see Doctor Doom and Kang coming up behind them. They don't realize they have these two players they had not seen or anticipated. And of course, we have our scene with our ladies talking about why they're nursemaids and not actually fighting. And then we have what's the next thing? And then we have our Infinity Watch. They're also getting ready to, I guess, what are they doing now, Omar?
Right now?
No, this part.
I'm sorry, I was talking to somebody in the chat. Damn it, Philip. Thanks for distracting me.
Well, I'm trying to go by like, a more detailed overview.
That's okay. You're talking about the Infinity Watch is hanging out.
They're on the moon, right?
Oh yeah, they're in that. Well, no, they're in that little pocket place, like a pocket reality, and that's where
reality. And
that's where the rest of the
all
heroes are transported to.
Yes.
Yeah.
And that's actually more. You get a little more of that in the Warlock and the Infinity Watch issue that I was talking about. I think it's issue 8 where they're hanging out, and actually it has one of my favorite oh shit moments where Thanos is like, "Ah shit, these motherfuckers again." Let me find a page. Hold on a second. I always thought this page was funny because like issue 7 of Warlock and the Infinity Watch is basically just them like setting up shop at what's his name's place, Mole Man's Monster Island. And then at the very end, it ties in with Infinity Gauntlet because you see Thanos.
Yeah.
But this other issue I thought was really important. Damn it, where is it? Let me find it. There's a couple Quasar books in here too. So if you read it, I really enjoyed this because they're all sitting around. Yeah, actually, he doesn't say shit. He says damnation. I love that page. I've always loved that thing, and I wish they had included this all the way in the front of the book. But again, that's going back to griping about the way the book is laid out.
Yeah.
So yeah, the heroes come from Earth, and we learn more about Magus's plan.
Yep.
And Doctor Doom is still hanging out with Kang to Conquer. Magus, for some reason, doesn't know what they're up to, but he knows about everything else.
Yeah,
It's
I'm
so
not,
weird.
I
They're,
wasn't
had
sure
they slip
exactly
his
what
grasp.
that's about. Because yeah, they're able to.
Because
Is
I
it
think it's
now
because,
they sneak up on the ship, or is that later?
no,
It's coming up.
it's a little bit later,
Yeah.
but it's getting there.
It's
So
all so much in my head.
I
Yeah,
think it's because of the time stream that they're using, and maybe Magus can tap into different realities, but not different times.
that's probably true.
Maybe that's just bullshit comic book
Mhm.
science I'm using.
Yeah, comic
That's the
book.
way I always took it as a kid. I'm like, all right, sure, I can believe that. Whatever.
Yeah. Yeah.
But yeah, it was a nice little team up. So yes, of course, there's a big battle, and then not only that, because these are their big guns that they took up there, right? Like they took the Hulk, Cyclops. I have no idea who was it that I was like, what the hell is this dude doing here?
A lot. Let's
Oh,
see.
my boy, Living Lightning, Latino
Living
representation. That's why. But even I was like, that dude doesn't belong. Like whatever,
And they
whatever.
left a bunch of heroes down on the ground.
Right,
And of
not the strongest heroes, so that's
No.
where all the doppelgangers come and attack
They
them, and they're
attack
like,
them
"Oh shit,
there.
all the big guys are gone."
And the Living Tribunal shows up by Eternity because he is sensing a need for adjudication. So he has arrived. And the Living Tribunal is an even higher power
Mhm.
in existence than Eternity, if that's even possible. So you have our judge and you have our Eternity. Everyone's here. So we have this big fight with and basically, this is an interesting thing, so I think it plays well to how that's laid out. Magus says he sends these doppelgangers in to keep the heroes busy, right? To kind of, he called like muddy the waters. And given how everything jumps back and forth, I would definitely agree with that as far as the plot's concerned. So, or how the story's laid out in the narrative. So that makes sense. And then we have our Thanos and everyone. They are going to Galactus' ship as well. They show up. All of our heroes are here. We're all on. Oh no! First, we have the Infinity Watch fight in the next issue. They start
Of course, because nobody
fighting.
talks. They're like, "Hey guys,
Yeah.
stop hitting me."
They're like, they
Instead,
show up
they're
in the middle of all the Avengers on this other planet, and they're like,
I love it. I
"Damn,
don't care. It's like wrestling, right? It's one story that you know because you know the narrative. You understand what's happening, and you're like, "Why don't these guys just say, hey, stop hitting me and listen for a few seconds?" That
yes,
wouldn't be fun. So these guys are just duking it out. And I love some of these fights, like in who they've got left. They got the three strong. I think who's left? Like Gamora, Adam Warlock, and what's his name? Thanos, right?
Yeah.
And then they're like, and then they get to talk. Oh, Thanos is teaming
Yeah.
up with you. Oh, why didn't you guys say so? Like in the first 2 pages. Okay, cool.
Yeah. I do appreciate Pip because he can he can teleport into different areas, and like he throws a rock on top of Wolverine's head, and
Yeah, Wolverine gets taken out by Pip. Damn it, Starlin! What are you doing, man? What are you doing?
Yes, I love it. So eventually, we kind of get everyone. They kind of end up stuck. Well, then we also have Kang and Doctor Doom. This is when they show up on the ship, and they're looking for this power source that they can sense, right?
Mhm.
And is this where yes, this is where they figure out that he has 5 cosmic cubes. And this is how Magus has been able to get in and out of the realities, right? With these cosmic cubes, I'm assuming. And then Galactus shows up on the other end.
Now, some of them weren't cubes, though,
heroes.
but I'm not going to fault him for not knowing
Well,
the
I think
shapes.
he talked about that in the book too, because he says like, well, they're
Geometric
not
shapes.
exactly cubes, but
I get it. Dramatic
Yeah,
effect.
He does say
Yeah.
not all cubes, but all protected from theft.
hashtag not all.
Not all cubes.
Yes, and that's when they team up with Galactus, and Galactus just seems a lot smaller for some reason in these pages. I don't know.
And I think
Maybe it's the way that Jack Kirby drew him, and the way he's portrayed here.
Yes,
He
I would
becomes
agree
more
with that.
human, and all of a sudden, he gets smaller. I love this, the little communicating card, the communicard that the Avengers had. I forgot about that. That was during Bob Harris's days. It's like an iPhone,
Yep.
right? That's cool. Dig that.
Yeah, and then of course they share all their experiences. Galactus has that system to help everyone understand like where everyone's coming from, so they all are enlightened on what's been going on all these different areas so they can all come together, and they're shocked that Thanos is on the side of angels and he's good, and he's like, yeah, I don't like it, but here we are. It's my universe too, so let's save it. And then Galactus picks up Eternity and the Living Tribunal. And so, of course, Adam Warlock is, wrestling with this. Do I have to use the Infinity Gauntlet? I don't want to have to use it again. And you have some nice little back and forth with Gamora and Thanos. You know what his decision? He's going to have to do it. And she's like, he doesn't want to, but I know he's going to have to. And so the question that Thanos has is, they think he's at the merge with Magus, right? And he's like, but without his good side, what is that going to leave us with, right? So that's our dangling question. Meanwhile, they send Thor off to see what's going on in the Earths, and I'm assuming this is another tie-in where everyone on Earth has kind of been like hypnotized.
Yeah, that's the issue of Sleepwalker.
Sleepwalker,
of all the comics, Sleepwalker 18 actually has one of the biggest tie-ins to this.
Yes.
Thor also does too, where he's hanging out with the Watcher.
Yes,
he does a lot more than just talk to him. I always love that, man. I love this picture. I'm a big fan of Ron Lim. If it was, I'm so glad he's the one that finished out Infinity Gauntlet instead of George Perez. I've always been a fan of his artwork. He was in the 90s. He was everywhere. He was drawing everything. Yeah, and then I love how he puts all the stones together. They each have to give them up.
Yeah.
Now this is also the time when Drax is stupid strong Drax, right? Not the Drax you're familiar with after the Drax miniseries leading up to Annihilation. This is Purple Cape Drax.
Yes.
And yeah, Gamora ends up kicking him to get the stone out. And they're like, hey, where's the Reality Stone? And he's like, I already got the Reality Stone. And they're like, oh, a question for another day then.
Yeah. Okay, let's not talk about that and go in depth about it.
Whatever. Sure, we trust this guy.
Yes, so he tries...
Go ahead.
No.
You go. No. Ladies
Okay.
Ladies first.
Okay. So then he tries to use the gauntlet, and it doesn't work. So... this is they're thinking because the Living Tribunal is here and he had can't use a stone. So Galactus is like, all right, well then we're gonna go have a talk with him, and we're changing this right now, and tells Gamora she's coming with him. And so they go, and just as soon as they go, Magus shows up, and he steals Adam Warlock. And...
I gotta show that panel.
Yes, okay.
Because Adam, this reminds me of what's it called, Deep Blue.
Deep Blue Sea?
Yeah, where Samuel L. Jackson's giving that speech and then he gets eaten by a shark.
Like, these sharks! And then bam, the shark just comes and eats him.
Yeah, they're just talking, and then Adam Warlock's like, what the fuck? Oh shit, help!
I can't believe that is what you want to equate that to.
I didn't know I was going to go there. I didn't know I was going to bring up Deep Blue, but that's where my brain went. Yeah, and they kidnapped him to go to that little pocket dimension.
Scene. Samuel Jackson always, getting eaten by sharks is always crowd pleaser. All
right, so back to this story.
Yes, so of course Thanos is trying to save him, but of course it's faulty, or it's futile. He can't. Magus takes him, so now he's a prisoner of Magus, who now has the gauntlet. But it can't use the gauntlet, right? Doesn't work right now, so that's fine. They're trying to figure out where he's been taken to, so they're using Thor's hammer to kind of get the telemetry. Oh my god, I can't say that word right now. Telemetry. Oh God's sake. Okay.
That's what happens when you try to use big words.
Yeah, that's what's in the comic. Okay. They use a lot of big words in the comic. I think they use the word Ebon, and I was like,
oh, it's Jim Starlin.
Yeah, I was like, this is high level stuff. I don't know a lot of
I have him and Chris Claremont to thank for my vocabulary.
Yes, that is high level. So basically, he's been taken. They want to use the Doctor Strange to kind of help and assist in finding him, and of course, in the meantime, Thanos thinks the only option is to use the ultimate nullifier that is on Galactus's ship in order to defeat Magus. Or that's what that's what he says is the key.
Yeah, and I love that too. Where he's asking Sue where it is. She's like, I don't know. And then she's like, with her side eyes looking at it, and he's like, you dumb broad. You just gave it away. It's right here. Right in plain sight. And I love that he takes it, and he kind of knows what it is. The ultimate nullifier, right? I guess. It's Thanos. Of course he knows what it is. But he doesn't use it, right? He ends up giving it to the hero that is willing to sacrifice his life. He's a pretty smart dude. He's like, he peps talks this guy, and then Quasar's like, yeah, I'll do it. Sure. I'm Quasar.
Yeah. He's Quasar.
I've got my own book. Nobody's buying it, so I'll
Is
do
that
it.
really what
Quasar.
happened?
Hey, he had a good run. I love Mark Grunwald's Quasar. Greg Capullo started on there. That's another story. All right, so then we get to issue 5. This is the issue where you find out that Sleepwalker's the one that was behind putting everybody in like a state of suspended animation almost.
Mm-hmm.
I'm sorry, McNoodles, you're getting really sick.
Yeah, I'm sorry about that.
I hope you feel better, man. Don't read Kree Skrull War if you're getting really sick.
Yeah.
That might make you more nauseous.
Or
But it was with the help of the psychic team that he was able to do that. The Professor X, Psylocke, Jean Grey, and my girl, Moondragon.
I love
Yeah, I like
Moondragon.
Dragon.
So, yeah, she
When
was
we
an
get her in the
Avenger.
movies.
Oh,
Was an
that'd be so
Avenger.
awesome.
They might have to update her costume. I don't think that's I don't think it would fly too well with people these days. I'm a fan of the bikini costume though. She looked good.
They used the original Psylocke costume for Olivia
On the
Munn.
wrong person, but anyway, don't get me started on that casting. There's a
I mean, I
lot
like
wrong with
that
that
movie,
movie.
but I don't agree. But we can talk about.
Okay, we're gonna do that. We're gonna do that. Oh, and
yeah.
I thought this issue was really important because this is the one where Galactus says, "All right, you're coming with me, Gamora.
Yep.
I'm gonna play surgeon, and you're gonna be my scalpel." And she's like, "Whoa!"
Yeah, and he
Before
throws her
she
in
knows it, he
eternity?
throws her in there. Now it's cool
Jeez.
because in hey, what's going on, Peter? That's all the way from Sydney.
Oh, hey Peter, what's going on?
That issue is actually in Warlock and the Infinity Watch number 9. Like you get to see her go in there, and it's a really cool retelling of her story too, like her origin story when she was a little girl, when Thanos killed like the people. I don't know. I always enjoy that issue. Yes, Warlock and the Infinity Watch number 9. Let me see if I can find it. But you go ahead and keep talking, Amanda or Maddie.
Sure. Okay, so obviously right now Magus cannot use his gauntlet. You have Thanos taking Quasar out he wants to get close enough to Magus's ship to use the nullifier in his reality and destroy it, and therefore, of course, sacrificing himself. Kang and Doctor Doom pretty much they end up taking the cosmic cubes, or they're trying to take the cosmic cubes, and so everything kind of happens at once.
Hold on. Did we talk about the magic team?
The what?
The team of magic, like the sorcerers, right? It's Scarlet Witch, and she goes and gets Dr. Druid and Agatha. Oh, it was called Agatha Christie, but it's Agatha Harkness. Not Agatha Christie.
Who might be in the next Doctor Strange movie. Anyways, keep
all right. Rumors start here. You heard it here first. So what's funny is that Captain America's like, well, I guess since we don't have Doctor Strange, these 3 assholes will do. And they're like, dude, we're right here. Like, I know we're not as cool as Doctor Strange, but Doctor Druid did some cool stuff, and Roger Stern's run of Avengers. Thanks a lot, Cap asshat. Anyway, go ahead.
Yeah, Captain America can come off kind of as a douche in this.
Standing in the corner, like listening to him. They're not as good as Sorcerer, but maybe all 3 of them together can do half of what he can do.
Exactly. So you have a couple things happening at once. Doom and Kang attack Adam Warlock and Magus, and then of course you have Quasar trying to use the nullifier, and then all at the same time Galactus gets his answer from the Living Tribunal, and he lets them use the gauntlet, but it's too late because Kang I think has been taken out, so Dr. Doom's left standing. Adam Warlock tries to get the gauntlet, but he can't. So as soon as Galactus gets the word from the Living Tribunal, now the gauntlet works, and Magus is able to take control.
Yep,
of course,
he becomes a godlike creature.
Yes.
Pure evil. Oh, look
and
at
he does all this crazy stuff.
So evil.
So evil. He does all this crazy stuff to poor Adam Warlock, like basically torturing him using the different stones. He turns the nullifier on Quasar, so therefore destroying Quasar. Lovely. So while he has Adam Warlock crucified on his elaborate crucifixion cross thing that he has, he's just torturing him different ways with time and space and everything that's going on, because this is how he is. And so of course Thanos And the Avengers now are attacked by a bunch of doppelgangers again, because
every time they go down, new ones appear.
Right.
Pretty interesting math here. So they're like, how can we get rid of these creatures we can't kill because another one appears? And this is such a bad guy. Maybe that's why I really like this story. I mean, this is such a bad guy move where he was like, aha, now I have the biggest trophy. Instead of like killing all these characters.
Well, right.
Like,
and every time
I'm just gonna
any
put him
villain
here.
can control, like, because even, Magus says this whole big spiel to Thanos, right? About how, like, no, I don't see power the same way you do.
Yes.
I'm not going to fall into the same pit traps you do. To me, it's different. It's about, like, what I can get from the power, not about having the power. Thanos is like, okay, please, whatever. We'll see how this goes. And congrats, Magus. You effed up. It's the same thing. You did it. You got too cocky. You didn't even realize.
That's what always happens.
You didn't have exactly what you thought you did. So it's like, Thanos gotcha.
Exactly. And so even though he gets this trophy, it doesn't matter. And then then it really comes down between him and Adam Warlock, and they have this ultimate fight.
This colossal Tengen Top and Gurren Lagann fight.
Right.
Out in the cosmos.
Space and cosmos, yeah.
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 I always compare the splitting of Adam Warlock with I use another anime reference, the Piccolo and what's his name? Kame. When they split, they're the same being. So that's how I explain it. But yeah, they have a huge fight because Thanos tricks him into fighting like that. He's like, you don't know about reality, and he's like, I don't know about reality. What are you talking about? And yeah, they're just these cosmic gods fighting out there, duking it out. Adam Warlock touches the gauntlet, and that kind of freaks Magus out. It's like, what are you doing? And then Adam Warlock releases. By the way, this is this is very, very, very comic booky and cinematic. I love the use of colors in this too. I think that this is really nice. I don't know what the hell the story was going.
Well, I agree that it's beautiful, but it came out of nowhere, and it was just like everyone's like, "Oh my god, you're kidding me! Infinity and Eternity are the same thing, sides of the same coin." We are all so surprised. And I'm like, I don't know how we got to this point, but okay, cool.
And I can't remember. That wasn't in any of the tie-ins leading up to that, right? Because I figured it would be.
No, it came out of nowhere. It did. The thing is, it was presented in a way that should have been like, "Hey, Infinity is the thing. Psych, they're Infinity and Eternity are the same." Like as if we were missing Infinity in some point,
everybody forgot about her.
Even though no one's brought it. But it looks like a female. I don't know.
But yeah, the art at that point was really cool. It's just
and they're just two sides. It's like a yin and yang kind of thing. Two sides of the same coin. And Adam Warlock was the one who had to bring it out. And of course, this is where
beat Magus by putting him into the Soul Gem and Adam Warlock, right? So then, which actually I really liked how that ended.
Me too.
Then you just have Magus wandering alone in the Soul Gem, and even though he can see other beings in the Soul Gem, he can't interact with them. So he's just
I love
it is an ultimate punishment, man. That poor
he
guy
goes nuts because he's like, "There's no shadows here. I can't touch anything. There's no shades."
Exactly. And there's an awesome scene because we have at the end when they have this big merge with the big ending of this climactic fight. All the heroes think they're going to die, and they're on Galactus' ship again. But lo and behold, they're all instantly transported back to their places. The Fantastic Four are at the tower. The Avengers are at their location. The X-Men are back home. Doctor Strange is back at the Sanctum. Silver Surfer is hanging out where he usually is. And it's a really cool. I love this panel because everyone, each person seems to finish a sentence. I really like that. And they do it a little bit in this. I think that's a really clever way to get everyone's viewpoints and see how they're all kind of thinking the same thing. And then, of course, like you said, we have Adam Warlock kind of lying in stasis. And this is when Thanos reveals what they did, what their big plan was.
Right. And I think it's really cool that the heroes are they're all standing around, just like you said. They're like, oh, we won. But
wait,
how? And then they're like, fuck it, who cares? We won.
But I do like Xavier's it's highly unsatisfying. We do not know what the outcome is because they don't. I mean, only the Infinity Watch truly knows because that's who Thanos they have Adam Warlock, and that's who he decided to tell everything to. So they're the only ones who know. So when he said that he really just brought the Earth's mightiest heroes in to muddy the waters, that's all they did. They had no real stake in that whole big fight. At the end of the day, it was really Thanos, Magus, and Adam Warlock.
Which is not unlike previous events,
it's not.
Right? So
definitely.
Infinity Gauntlet, where you know, you got like people help, and then but in the long run, they were just fodder until they disappeared and they were snapped back. Like just another event where the heroes don't really matter, and it's all about these larger players. It all comes down to like 2 or 3 individuals usually, which is fine. It's very cosmic, but it's
but still,
I know it must be very just kind of like, oh, okay.
Yeah, you see your favorite heroes, they don't have much to do. That's why I think the tie-ins are so important if you want to see them do more, right?
Now, there is an aftermath that explains what happens after this, right? There's an actual aftermath trade paperback. That hasn't been collected in oversized format. But if you own, I think it's... No, never mind. No, you do need it. Or you can just buy the 2 Warlock and the Infinity Watch trades. But that's kind of... that's exactly where it ends. With the promise of another summer crossover next year.
That's right.
Because if there is a bad side to Adam Warlock, there's got to be a good side, and that could be more terrifying.
And where'd the cosmic cubes go, right? Because that was Thanos' question. Where'd they go? We don't know.
They're hanging out with the goddess.
They're hanging with goddess.
And you find that out in Infinity Crusade, which we will probably do next year if Marvel releases a nice omnibus to go and
for our anniversary.
Just for us, for our anniversary. That would be great.
And I like the ending because it has Thanos talking about like maybe like, am I hero now? Am I villain? Or am I just like, you know, do I just understand what needs to be done? And sometime on the side of good and sometime on the side of bad. And it's a really interesting, like, you know, inner dialogue that he's or outer dialogue, but he's having with himself. He's doing some introspective work at the end. And you can kind of see like, this is not the same Thanos that we had in Infinity Gauntlet that was all power hungry and wanted to please death. This is a different...
But even that Thanos was really so multi-layered, right? Because remember that's how they defeat him. He literally tells him how to defeat him because he couldn't handle godhood. And subconsciously he knew that. Like, so he's such a complicated...
He's very open about that in this book too. It's just like it's not meant for us. Which I really love Thanos.
Yeah.
I think he's a really compelling villain. You know, I think it's a lot. I prefer him in the comic books to the movie, even though I love him in the movie. Just because I love seeing that dichotomy in his own self and his own mind, and I like that they continue to use that over and over again. Because honestly, Annihilation Thanos is very similar to this one, where it's just kind of like, oh well, you know,
I'm here.
There it is.
I'll help out. Like that was so Keith Giffen wrote those Thanos issues. Jim Starlin wrote the Redemption arc, and then that led to Annihilation. But Keith Giffen always thought wrote it good, and then of course DNA killed it with the Cosmic Saga. So I agree. I think I like the complexity of the character. I think he makes for I love villains like that though. That's the reason why I love Doctor Doom, Magneto. Characters that actually have a drive, but I also every once in a while for a one-dimensional bad guy that can just be used to wipe out the bad
Spider-Man. So
yeah, Spider-Man's got some, but even their Green Goblin, Kraven, as you'll find out next week.
Even the Lizard has, they all have.
They all have. It depends.
It's true.
Depends on the writer, right? Who wants to take on the task to make these lame characters actually something cool? Right now is a good time to mention, since we got everybody in the chat, that tomorrow we're doing a live episode at 9 p.m. Eastern Standard Time to celebrate our 3 years of being on, almost at Facebook, YouTube. So join us back here, 9 o'clock Eastern Standard Time if you can. Ask us anything.
Yes, and if you have any questions ahead of time, there's a post on our community page on YouTube. You can post questions there. We ever got quite a few people posting questions. You can direct message us through our Facebook, our Twitter, or our Instagram as well. So if you have a question you want to make sure gets in on the show, make sure to post it at any one of those places, and I'm going to put it on our list. We'll make sure we give you a shout out. So don't forget to do that if you know exactly what you want to ask.
Are we doing giveaways? I've got books to give away. I don't know if we want to do it tomorrow or do it.
I think we're doing it for our 10 10,000.
10K. Okay.
May
Wow,
happen
10,000.
Get us
today.
to 10. Get us to 10K because I have a lot of books to give away because I keep buying the same damn book on IST, even though I
Jesus,
already own it.
Maddie, you gotta look through your. You gotta make a video. You gotta
Well-
make a video tour so you can know what not to buy and what to
I
buy.
made my spring haul videos that'll come out next week, probably once I'm done with MomoCon, and then I can put my shelf up and we do a room video, and I can watch it forever, and not have this happen.
No, that's a good idea. That's what I do. You've seen me watch my videos when we go shopping.
Yeah.
You used to make fun of me. Now you get it.
No, I understand. It's getting out of control. I can't keep doing this.
Somebody's asking something really important, and I think we'll read it here one day. But they're asking, who is that? Omar, what's your favorite Doctor Doom comic? Somebody else can try to pronounce that guy's username. And there's nothing better to me than Doctor Strange and Doctor Doom
DJ
Triumph and
Sickrick.
Torment.
His name is DJ Sickrick.
All right, DJ Sickrick. Oh, that makes sense. Thank you.
Oh,
Please tell me if I said that right, by the way. I'm just taking a gander.
Yeah, it's a graphic novel. It's called Doctor Doom. Books of Doom is really good too. But I think, to me, I love Doctor Strange and Doctor Doom Triumph and Torment. It's literally a trip to hell where they try to go and rescue Doctor Doom's mom, her soul. Oh man, it's such a good Roger Stern. Yeah, such a great story. That's one of my favorites. Worst writer, Chuck Austin.
I thought you were
That
gonna
was
say
quick.
Bendis.
No, Bendis. I can appreciate why other people like his writing. I have no idea how the hell anybody could get through a Chuck Austin book.
Yeah. I don't know who would be my worst, but I don't usually hate books.
Yeah. I'm trying to think of the writing that we just. I mean, it's unfair to say anything older that we've read because it's a different time. It's written well. It's just not for me, I guess, but doesn't mean it's not written well. So I'm trying to think, we haven't really read. I mean, Omar hasn't given us enough Bendis, which he doesn't like. So I guess.
No, I voted for Avengers Disassemble. We were gonna do that, remember?
Yeah.
Yeah, I do.
Right. So I'm not biased. I'm willing to try anything on this show. Just
Yeah.
because I also want to go back and reread some of the things that I thought were horrible, and maybe you two are like, oh my god, this is freaking amazing. You all don't sound like that, but in my head you do when you're not agreeing with me. Best 80s series with Justice League, obviously. Best 80s series was New Teen Titans and Uncanny X-Men. Nothing got better than that for me.
I do like New Teen Titans a lot.
Bar none, nothing was better than New Teen Titans at DC and Uncanny X-Men and Marvel. So Philip saying Bendis is like a blockbuster movie that's not good, but it's a real movie. I think Mark Miller is more of a not Joel Schumacher. What's his face? Guy that makes all the Transformer movies. Michael Bay. Michael Bay. He's more of a Michael Bay than Bendis is. At least Bendis, there's a little heart into his stories. But people love Mark Miller. I think Red Sun was good. Everything else he's written was just whatever. So I'd like to read some of that stuff. He wrote Civil War. People love Old Man Logan, but
Wait, he wrote the original Civil War, the one that.
He wrote the original
I
Civil War.
Okay, I didn't like that. Maybe that's.
Yeah, I'm not a fan.
But
I don't like that premise. I can see other people like it, but I don't need my superheroes to fight each other. I'm just never.
That's what this was.
Yeah, but
there's no talking. They're like, hey,
limited though. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
That's just because they're confused. It's not because a legitimate conflict. I just don't.
To be fair, they did it better in the movie. The movie did it well.
That's true.
Yeah, they didn't do it very well in the comic, in my opinion, which came out first, but that premise,
even if the story's boring, what carries the stories for me are the characters. So if I care about the characters, it doesn't matter what the story is, right? I'll still find enjoyment in reading the book. My problem with Mark Miller, and to an extent Bendis, is that I think me personally, this is just my opinion, they can only write 4 or 5 characters, and that's it. And it's always the same character. Whether it's Spider-Man or Human Torch, same character. Doesn't matter. There's no differences. Even in the way that their dialogue is delivered. But anyway, we can break that down when we get to it. Let's talk about this.
Yes.
What are we going to grade this book? How did you all like the artwork? Because like I said, I was a big fan of Ron Lim in the 90s, and he was a fast artist.
You can tell. Yeah, I mean, I like the colors, which I know he's not the color. Who's the colorist on it? I don't know.
Yeah, I liked it. I thought it was fine, and I know that they will still see stories with this particular art style for Infinity related.
Yes.
It's always nice. I think Marvel does a good job of it at this time period. I appreciated this type of art last time with Infinity Gauntlet, and I like it now. All of the characters are very distinct. I like the bright colors a lot. I like it just fine.
Yeah.
There's nothing that bothers me about it at all. So maybe that doesn't sound the best. Let me rephrase that. I really like it. I think it's good.
Yes, it's good. And I like the layouts too, the panel layouts and things like that. But yeah.
I think it was like a good summer blockbuster flick of just a giant fight, and it always brings out the inner kid in me. Kind of like the Death of Superman. Actually very similar to the way Death of Superman was.
Mm-hmm.
Just huge fighting for no reason. When I was a kid, I halfway understood the story.
It's
even as an adult, I was like, wait a minute.
It's a lot of high
those guys
level
come from?
Comic book science in this thing. Kind of like, sometimes how you feel when you read Hick Vendors. A lot of high level comic book science getting thrown in there, especially with Mr. Fantastic and stuff.
Right. But there's some really cool moments in this that I appreciate it.
Yeah.
I'm going to let you ladies rate it. What would, and in the chat too, you all can play along if you've read Infinity War. What would you all rate this out of 10? 1 to 10 or 0 if you really fucking hate.
No, I didn't hate it though, because unlike Avengers Kree-Skrull War, which was very difficult to get through, I didn't find this terribly difficult to get through and understand where everyone was coming from. I didn't feel like it was too dated that I wouldn't really enjoy it. It was a lot of, I think I would give it 7 out of 10. I mean, I thought it was good. But yeah, there's a little bit, the narrative gets a little bit confusing because there's a lot of moving parts. And tie-ins would be helpful, I guess.
I was really hoping, because Amanda and I always tend to review it the same. I already had in my mind what my number would be, and Amanda said the same thing. So we're just
I love it
forever. So I was like, I feel like it's a pretty solid 7 out of 10. I enjoyed it well enough. But yeah, it's just, these big events can be really difficult with the narrative. To be really compelling. Not every event does it well. And again, without the tie-ins, I just don't think these stories are as good by themselves.
Yes.
When you have these main, series issues, it's not as compelling for me. A lot of it mixes together because you have a lot of characters going on. You have a lot of stuff going on. It's just, it was fine. I enjoyed it. Art's beautiful.
Yeah.
It was neat to read about Magus and see all these characters do things, but at the same time, it's just, it's not narratively smooth throughout. My memory doesn't work that well with that kind of story. I always feel like I'm really dumb after, because I can't pick out exactly what happened in order. I know what happened.
Yes.
I can tell you very quickly what happened, but in order, I'm like, I don't really know which came first and who did what first. I know that eventually we got to the ship and we did this, and then, stones that work together, and all of that. But for books like this, I don't leave it thinking, oh yes, this was amazing, the best. To me, it's just like, oh yeah, that's cool. 7 out of 10. That's
7 out of 10. 7 out of 10. No, there's nothing wrong with agreeing. I think it's wonderful that both of you come at it from different angles, because there are some stories that mean more to Maddie, and then there's some stories that Amanda relates more to. And then both of you hated the Dark Phoenix saga, so you can go to hell.
Calm down.
I'm kidding. No, really, we're gonna reread the Dark Phoenix saga every year until both of you are like, okay, this is a 9 out of 10.
No,
I see what you mean.
That's not okay.
Rereading new reader,
gonna make me get to a 9 out of 10.
Flashback. I'll call it flashback episode. You two are forced to love it. I would give this book a 6.5. That's what I would give it.
All right.
I loved the book as a kid.
I
Even
feel like
going
you
back
always
to
go
adult.
half a point below us just because.
No, not really.
You
Hello,
did.
Dark Phoenix, Kree Skrull War. Both of you are like, if I
Yeah.
could rate a book a 0.
Man, now I'm just ready. I'm ready to get back into DC after this. Like it's just great, but I'm in a DC mood.
Well,
We read
well,
DC last week, man.
sadly- yeah, did we read DC last week?
Remember, you were there. It was Death and Return of Superman. Or
Yeah,
Death
but
of Superman.
I want like an event. I want other characters.
One
I
event,
want more
yeah.
stuff going on.
Maybe some Justice League or something.
Okay.
Yeah,
okay.
like-
I'll think of something for next month, and if the chat thinks of something,
Yeah.
it's really cool. 'Cause we like planning our reading ahead of time, right? So then everybody else can read along with us if they want to, or if they've already read the stories.
I'll
Yes.
be gone. So
We're
I'll
gonna
have a
pick
lot of
one long book.
opportunities. Yeah, if we do Infinite Crisis, you know,
Then it
that's-
would be the Infinite Crisis Omnibus.
yeah.
Okay.
I mean, well, I'll have to read digitally because there's no way I'm bringing this omnibus with me to China.
No.
I got you. Oh, what? You poor little thing. I brought 2 Omnis to Japan with me.
Again, China's this is not going to be the same as Japan.
What?
This is a little bit more difficult to navigate.
Japan's an island. It's in the same, hemisphere, right? Oh, wait. Yeah, it is.
Oh God. Okay.
Yeah.
No, I think digitally is a good idea. God,
Yeah.
I wish for digital books back then. That would have been such a lifesaver.
I'm gonna have a lot of time to read stuff, and then just hopefully nobody else on the trip will judge me. Hopefully my boss isn't like.
Are you
"Really?
reading
Comics.
children's books?
Doing?
Are those books with pictures,
I
Maddie?
wanted to
Oh, man,
promote
at
you,
work,
but
I get like my members are like, "What do you do on the side?" Like, because they're all kind of like white. They are blue collar workers, like who definitely don't follow. Like, they don't follow this stuff. They love basketball, and they look at me like, I see you on the YouTubes.
See you on the YouTube.
so yeah, I get the same like. So
Yeah.
you cosplay Wonder Woman? What kind of superheroes?
Yeah,
You know, one of them Comic Cons?
yeah,
I heard about that. Everybody dressing like freaks. I don't really get it. Like, okay.
yeah. Like, okay, that's fine. Whatever.
Yeah,
Okay.
I mean, cosplay. I mean, yeah.
You're like, because the number one movie, like, or soon to be of all time, is a comic book movie. So whatever.
Hey, you can like basketball and comics. That's what Philip Evans.
Yes, you can.
He's such a shit starter. He is.
Yeah, Philip. Will you try to start here? To be fair, I do enjoy some football. I'm not a basketball fan, but
I enjoy
I don't enjoy shit that's not comic books.
anime.
sports ball is also.
That's about as far as that goes.
I think if we had what's it called, a
Ooh.
trivia night, and you were to ask me name 5 basketball teams,
Which kind?
maybe.
Which kind?
I don't know.
College?
College.
Or professional? See,
I
you didn't have to
could
go.
do college. I could do
You're
college.
a girl and you're trying to date boys. Sometimes you kind of learn about this stuff just in case. I don't remember how many times I've mentioned to one boy I liked about the Jets' fourth quarter comeback in like 2000. Just because
Oh, well, guys do the same thing. Yeah, sure. Love Actually is an amazing movie.
No.
Actually, I do love Love Actually, though.
And
so I
all the
can't
boys ever
bullshit that.
tried to hit on me are always like, yeah, I like Final Fantasy VII. I'm like, do you actually play? Because I just don't think you do. You brought
Such
me
a
up.
mean girl.
No, it's the truth. They always play like they play those games. They don't play those games. Tell me the truth.
What's your favorite Final Fantasy show now?
I've watched Inuyasha. I watched Dragon Ball. Okay.
That's how guys down talk to you, like trying to hit on you, talking
Yeah,
about
like
stuff
that
like
guy that was like, "Oh, I see you're reading a graphic novel." Yes, I have
Maybe he was a proper dude, and that's what they're properly called. And he watches
they're
comics
called like
explained.
He was just kidding. It's all wonderful and very sweet to try.
It is very sweet.
Yeah. It's
Yeah.
just me being funny about it.
I had to go through all the episodes of Dragon Ball Z and Bleach for my husband when we were dating because I wanted to be with him. So
Dragon Ball Z, that was worth that trip.
Yeah.
yeah.
I got into One Piece for a guy, and now the One Piece collection of figures is getting a little out of hand.
Yeah.
I think I watched
And
like
it brought me to what
three-
I really like. So
3 seasons of Friends for a girl, and I watched some of Coupling. Have y'all ever seen Coupling? That's actually a really good show.
Yes.
That was Stephen Moffat's show.
And they tried to do it in the US and it sucked.
Yeah. But I enjoyed that. Yeah. So I mean, everybody does it.
One day he's gonna watch All the Boys I Loved Before, and he's really gonna love that.
Yeah.
Let's not get crazy.
I'm telling you, we need like a goal where like if we hit a certain number, Omar has to watch.
I think we should do a geek Pictionary challenge for one of our panel videos. I think that would be a lot of.
You're all better than I can. I don't want to lose to you and have to.
Was that?
Do?
You're gonna play Final Fantasy VII.
It's a lot to
all
get
the way through. No, I'm just kidding. It can't be that bad. If I only have to watch To All the Boys I Loved Before, which is an hour and a half of my life, I can't, or we can't make you go play a video game that's going to take 100 hours to beat. That would be messed up.
I wouldn't do that to you.
All right, so
we could always do a Twitch stream, though. That'd be good for like a 15K. Have us all play something together live.
That would be a lot of fun.
Oh yeah, for sure. Like Mario Kart. Nobody wants to hear me play Mario Kart, though. I'm quite vulgar at that
maybe
game.
Something scary.
Oh yeah, you want to see Amanda drop your $50 controller on the ground and say, "Fuck this, I'm leaving," and then she's gonna be traumatized.
I get. Ooh,
like
you
Amanda
should see where I played
like,
Halo. It was bad.
I wish I could sneak a camera into the movie theater when we're watching a scary movie because she hates it, and then she blames us for taking her, and she punches me, and I'm like, I didn't direct this movie. I didn't know how scary it was gonna be.
It's true.
Amanda is the best to watch movies with because she's just. I always thought that I was really passionate at movies and just filled with childlike wonder, but Amanda's like 100%. She's like, whoa, is he gonna? You're kidding me. Just like
childlike wonder. I love it. That's a really good description of her, though. Like we have been told several times, is she going to talk the whole time? And I warned people. I'm like, yes.
No, not me.
Are the only
next to you said that?
Yeah, because he was asking me about you, and I'm like, oh yeah, we're talking the whole time. You need to move, dude.
That was during Captain Marvel, wasn't it? Yeah.
But I've always been with friends that talk through movies, right? I mean, it depends on what kind of movie it is, right?
Y'all laughed at me when I saw Shazam.
You guys are the only ones I can do that with because, like, yeah, I used to be one of those, like,
ooh,
yeah, I had a friend that we go see movies with, and he would talk a little bit louder than I liked, and I had to sit somebody in between us, and I would be like this the whole time.
Oh shoot!
But I love you too, so that's how much I love.
Also, we get
preferential.
All right. Yeah. We'll use that privilege. Thank you.
And because Maddie. It's fun. It's fun to watch you too.
Yes.
So I don't mind. Ooh, DJ Sickrick. Of course, I checked out that Final Fantasy VII remake trailer.
Of course, you did.
I'm already planning that Aerith cosplay. I don't care if the gameplay is going to be different. I am there. I am pumped. So excited. Final Fantasy is a new Millennials game. I don't believe that.
Wow, listen to your attitude. You were like, I don't think so.
It's my old
millennial.
It's my old like pretentious video game anime fan coming out of me. So when I was in high school, I was like, listen, these video games are the best, and you guys are playing that. Whatever. It was awful. That was so bad.
You were talking about Suikoden?
Well, yeah, of course. I'm like, that's your favorite? Play Suikoden 2 or Lunar Silver Star Story Complete, please. You're reading One Piece? Read Slayers.
Oh man, you were so snooty.
I was so bad. But now, I used to hate on comics too, and look at me. Look at this.
Look at you.
I prefer to read real words and no pictures. Yeah, now I don't have time for that.
Yeah,
I remember there was a time.
Read Game of Thrones if you can make me.
Right.
There was a time.
For that.
I was at a convention. This reminds me of this story. There was a chick that was reading. She was sitting there waiting in line for Chris Claremont. She started talking to me because that's what you do. You wait in line. And I think she was hitting on me, but my nerdy ass could not get over the fact that she misspoke about a certain story. And I'm like, don't say actually, dude. Just don't do that. Don't do that. And then my mouth was faster than my brain, and I was like, oh no, yeah, you got the storylines mixed up. And she's like, no, I don't think so. And I'm like, you stupid bitch, you dude, who you talking to? Yeah, that didn't go anywhere. But anyway, that's what that reminded me of.
Clearly.
Sometimes I can't help myself from coming out like that. Like,
I'm one of those things that it just comes out before you mean it to. You're like, oh man.
I think we're all kind of actually people.
Now I'm that gatekeeper to the community. Great.
It's difficult to like. I remember I did the free comic book day thing with my family, and in the background, somebody mentioned in the comments somebody's talking about So does DC Rebirth? No, New 52. When did that take place? And the guy was like misinforming them. And I used to work at a comic book store, right? So this all like the comic book store in me and the YouTuber in me wants to go. Yeah, actually, that guy's completely wrong. Don't listen to him. Let me show you a link. But I butt out of people's conversations because I'm more mature now and I can
Yes, you
control
are.
myself. I can control myself these days.
The inflection Amanda just used for that was like.
No, wait a minute. Maturity does not mean age. Okay, let's get that shit right.
No, that's not what I was referring to. Because
Oh,
I don't
you bitch.
believe you.
You went there?
Yeah, you throw a couple back and we'll talk about mature Omar. Okay.
Ooh, let's do
Okay,
more.
I do a lot of stupid
No, we should
stuff.
do that.
Yeah, no, we should do that.
Should never have an episode with me drinking tequila. We've done a drunken episode, which is the Dark Phoenix Saga.
No.
I needed to be drunk for that.
Drunken episode. I mean, we need one.
We
like,
didn't.
all together.
Yes. Not just you being drunk because you and Andrew couldn't get home fast enough. Me and
Or you all y'all couldn't.
Birthday.
Shot for shot. Shot for shot. You're
Okay, no, I'm not crazy.
You're dead. You're dead. It'll be me on the show, kind of saying words, and then maybe my boy, what was his name from France? He might be able to understand me.
Ooh,
Well, he
wait,
wants to know our
No mileage.
transition process.
Hey, real quick, Leighton Watson was asking about a manga for Slayers. There's a manga for Slayers, right? Or is it just light novels?
Nope, there's a manga. It was brought over by CPM Studio.
And
Brought it
we're
over.
getting a continuation pretty soon. It just got announced a little bit ago on Kotaku, so that's pretty exciting. And I just dropped some mad money for Alina Inverse wig. So
He's like, I'm so confused. You were talking about Brian Michael Bendis. I go to the bathroom. I came back. You're talking about Final Fantasy. I'm trying to guess the transition between. This
I
you
don't
never
know
know.
what
You never know with us, and there's not even alcohol involved.
Matthew,
No
Slayers is not good.
Ooh, ooh.
Listen,
Before Maddie says anything, please, people, don't forget to hit that like button.
oh yeah, sorry. We
Before she said something. Now you can go ahead. After Matthew hits the like button.
Matthew, I'm really sad, but you still watch all of our videos, so I'll
Yes.
accept it. Hopefully, you'll change your mind.
One day.
You don't
Yeah,
have to like everything we do.
No,
Both
you
Just
don't.
Dark Phoenix Saga.
Omar and I
You
both
don't
picked
either.
up Lena Inverse and Android,
Yes.
and we'll both
Yes.
be picking up that Naga. You're gonna pick up that
Yes.
Naga, right?
Oh, of course I am. I don't need to buy that shit, but I'm going to
Yeah,
because that's how stupid I am.
I'll buy anything Slayers. I don't care.
I remember you tagged me on that thing, and I think my words were like, "I'm so weak, it's already bought. It's pre-ordered. Just pre-ordered it. Damn it, Maddie."
Yeah,
I think
but
later
me-
on I followed up with, "Damn
me,
it, Maddie."
Omar, and Tina all got it.
Yep, that's right.
I think I cried. Yeah, no, because it got announced, and I saw this picture, and I was in the car with my fiance, and I just started sobbing. I was just like, I can't believe that they're making this. I was just like,
And he's like, "What's wrong?" And
He's
you're like,
like,
"They
you
made
know,
this anime figure. They made an anime figure.
I
It's
just
cool."
cry a lot, and I just get really excited about things I love. You know, y'all are both criers too, so
Yes.
we're all.
Oh god.
Oh God,
We're all
yeah.
a bunch of, we all.
I just try not to do it in front of people. What's wrong? But I'm watching shit by myself, like Love Actually. I'll fucking sit there, and cry my eyes out.
I love Actually so good.
It
Yeah.
is. Okay, so if everybody has hit that like button, don't forget about our episode tomorrow, our live episode at 9:00.
Yes.
It's the Ask Us Anything, get to know us a little more. As long as it's pleasant and not creepy.
Yeah.
Leave those for me to ask. What was the worst anime? Dragon Ball or Dragon Dude, Dragon Ball was awesome. There's so much more crap out there.
Being
See, these are questions that should be asked tomorrow because a lot of us watch anime.
Yeah.
So you
Yes,
should be there, Patacon, at 9:00 Eastern Standard Time. Everybody should.
I
Be
will.
There.
Well, I'm gonna go right ahead and write that down so I can put it in our list, Patacon, to ask that question.
That's
Yeah.
right. So you gotta be there for us to answer.
Yeah.
No, unless you couldn't understand us, but you should be there too. Just ask questions.
Yes. Just ask questions. We'll
It
type
says,
it out.
you guys pronounce my pseudo better than the French themselves. Oh, okay.
Oh well, good.
That's what happens with years of not being able to pronounce anything right. For me, anyway. Okay, so I think we've said everything.
Don't forget about next week.
Next week we are reading. Oh, Amanda's holding it up. And Amanda, what are we reading?
We are reading Your Choice, guys. Thank you.
607 votes.
Yep. Amazing Spider-Man's Craven's Last Hunt.
That's
Got
right.
this bad
That
boy
is
for Christmas.
that is what we're reading.
Mhm.
It's
Look
a
at that- look
6-part
at that
crossover event. So
sexy Hunter.
Amanda wants to dive in and read the entire thing. That's up to her. If you want to read the epic with us, that's cool. But it's only a 6-part crossover, so
That's
we're
all I
just
have.
talking about the main storyline. But yes, we threw the death of Jean D. Wolfe in there, and also the death of Gwen Stacy. But this is the one that won. So I like to do a poll every month. So I think that's a good idea. And if the chat
Mhm.
has any recommendations, or if you're watching this not live, just leave those comments down below. Is what we should read next month.
Yep.
And that being said, one of you lovely ladies want to sign us off?
Sure, I'll go ahead. All right, everyone. Thank you so much for watching. Don't forget to hit that like and subscribe button, and remember to ring the bell for notification of more great Near Mint Condition content. Remember to follow us on all of our social media channels at Near Mint Con, and check out our Patreon. The link is in the description if you want to support our channel. And last but not least, if it's classy and cool, guys, it must be Near Mint. Have a good night. We'll see you all tomorrow.
Night, guys.
Everybody.